Hey there, are you looking for a full-size, all-electric station wagon? Oh yes, everybody calls them SUVs or crossovers, but this is the 2026 Lucid Gravity Touring. And we're going to show it here on Q4Cars. So let's take a look at this 2026 Lucid Gravity Touring. All right. So let's talk about the Lucid Gravity and the good and the bad with this vehicle. First of all, ride is outstanding. It's a nice car. It's heavy, so it rides well because, of course, it's a battery electric. I've had it. It's got 183 miles right now. When I got it, it was just a little over 300. And it wasn't fully charged. I think it had 366 when I got it. They say this has 400 some odd miles of driving. It really depends on your driving style when you're driving electric. But inside, really, really comfortable. Now, one of the things that I don't really like about it, I find these big A-pillars to obstruct my vision. That's something that I am not really thrilled about. When I first got into the vehicle, I was like, whoa, this is different. Because the windshield goes all the way up and it doesn't stop. It keeps going behind me over my head. So this is all glass. Now, while that is pretty and nice in a really hot climate, even here in Washington, D.C. with all the sunlight that comes in, I'm finding it a little bright. I had to wear a baseball cap a couple of times on that. I didn't like that. I did like the fact that these are very usable and very functional. But I think it's funny that, you know, you're putting the sun down here, but the sun can still come in here. So isn't it kind of counterproductive in a way? Really nice lighting in here. It does have an HUD or heads-up display. I'm not really thrilled with that. I turned that off because it really does not get down low enough for me, and it's big, and it sort of gets blocked out with my polarized sunglasses. Something I do like about it is the fact that gear shift is basically kind of what you would expect in sort of a modern vehicle. It's just like a turn signal stalk here on the steering column. Very simple, very clean there. So let's go out for a ride, check it out. Now I understand all the screens and I understand the digital people want all the screens, but I'm a little analog. I'd like less screens and more real dials and buttons and controls. It has a lot of pickup. That's the one thing that you really love about electric vehicles, is that they are just right off the starting line. They fly right on out there. Now this will be one of those situations where this A-pillar sort of gets in the way. Now, like that turn right there, I can't see what was in that spot, so that really bothered me. It's very, very quiet. It does ride heavy and it feels heavy, but it is an electric vehicle with 400 miles of estimated range on it. So it's gonna be, the battery's gonna give you a lot of weight in there. It is a long vehicle, which is good for the second row passengers. There's plenty of leg room. And I would say if you are in the front seat and extended your seat back too, if you were tall, this would be a great vehicle. So if you're looking for a vehicle for a tall person to drive, yeah, a Lucid Gravity would be the vehicle. Handling is very good. We're going over the bumps. I hear them and I feel them a little bit, but they don't rattle my teeth, so it's nice. So let's talk about some of the other things that I really like in this vehicle. I really like the build quality. It seems to be very solid. Things fit right. There's no little jagged edges, something that doesn't line up. Everything lines up really nicely. The quality of materials is in line for the $126,000 Moroni sticker price on this. So quality materials is good. Lighting is good. I have driven it at night. The light seems to be good. The other thing that's kind of odd about it is this kind of funny shaped steering wheel. It's more like a yoke, sort of an oval yoke steering wheel. Something that's different. That's something that you have to get used to. braking is very good. Now this has auto hold brakes. When I pull my foot off of the accelerator, and I'm not going to call it a gas pedal, pull it off the accelerator, the vehicle slowly comes to a stop. Now I don't have my foot on the brake or on the accelerator right now. The vehicle is stopped. Now I'm put my foot on the accelerator and we're going to move forward. I've used the brake a number of times and it certainly brakes. You'll notice that there are 2 brake calipers in the rear and 1 large one in the front, which is kind of interesting because the front takes up more of the weight. All right, so the big question is, would I spend $126,000 on a Lucid Gravity Touring? For myself, I'm going to say no. I think it's a beautiful vehicle. It is a very nice vehicle, but it does not fit my personal needs. Now I tried to get an 8-foot piece of lumber in here. It wouldn't fit in straight. I had to fit it in at an angle. I carry stuff all the time, so I need something that I can carry things in. And that was the 8-foot piece of lumber. I did have to move the right front seat up a little bit to be able to get that in at an angle. I think it's too big for my needs. But if you were a family and you wanted something to ride around in, or if you were a livery driver and you were driving people who you wanted to drive them in luxury but not in opulent, well, I would say not in obnoxiously in-your-face luxury, this would be a great car for a ride service situation, because there is so much room in the back for the passengers and also for cargo, and even 3 rows of passengers or 2 rows of passengers back there, and still cargo space. You got plenty of that in there. So like the Mercedes-Benz R-Class back in the day, which a lot of folks in China liked because they tend to be more driven than they drive their own cars. So there's space for the driver up front and plenty of space for passengers in the back. And what's really nice about the passengers in the back of this vehicle is that there is a work desk on right and left side. So you could drop that down. You can put up a laptop or an iPad there. In the workspace there, that you could put a tablet in, which is great. And if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe. Overall, I'm going to give this vehicle in a 8 out of 10. I really like it, but I don't like it that much that I would give it a 9 or a 10. So I'm going to give it an 8, only because I really like the fact that it's electric and that it's so luxurious. Not a big fan of the price, but then again, as I said, I do think you are getting what you paid for with this vehicle. Something that I forgot to mention, that when you turn the turn signal on, the camera in the back shows up a video. There's a video on the dash of what's right in that side, on whatever side you've turned the signal on, whether it be right or left. That's it for this episode of Q4Cars, as we took a look at the Lucid Gravity Touring. This is a wonderful all-electric station wagon or long roof. I am not going to call it a crossover. I'm not going to call it an SUV. Until next time, we will see you out on the road as we're talking about cars and trucks and things that are all about the automotive lifestyle. Until then.